Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. The power-packed performance electric Ultraviolette F77 Mark II has received some very interesting updates and features that makes the motorcycle fun to ride than before and also safer than before. It has a reworked regen system and now actually knows when to stop. Here's Chris with all the details.
Hey guys, so the day has finally arrived and I'm pretty excited because I finally have a chance to experience the Ultraviolette F77 Mark II. Yes, now this is the same bike that was launched just a couple of months back and we also did a quick walk around video of the same motorcycle. But now we finally have a chance to see what this brings to the table out in the real world. Now this is not the standard stock F77 model, this is the higher spec F77 Recon. The Mark II obviously with the bigger battery pack and therefore better range. So let's see what this one has to offer. In the department of exterior design, not a lot has changed from the first bunch of performance e-bikes that were launched at the end of 2022. The Mark II gets some new colorways and new stickers on the front fork and panels that visually indicate that this is the more up-to-date version. In terms of underpinnings, everything remains the same as before. Ultraviolette have thankfully addressed some of the quality issues that we found with the older bike though. For instance, the charging point lid on the bike is now of metal construct and they've changed its hinge and a couple of panels around the upper side of the tank section too. Now while the Mark II version of the F77 retains the same body language and basic design as the previous model, well, what still remains fascinating and really cool is the fact that you don't have any screws or bolts along the entire facade of the motorcycle, and that's really nice. The F77 was always a great looking motorcycle. It's a very neat and sleek bike that keeps the whole aeronautics theme very nicely indeed. However, the real talking point about this Mark II version are the improvements to its tech and features. Now yes, the beauty of this updated F77 model really lies within, and that mainly has to do with the amount of features and tech that the bike now houses, because this motorcycle is now up on power, it's up on range, and of course you have stuff like traction control, different settings, you have hill hold, you have 9 levels of regenerative braking, something that the earlier model was really lacking, and of course you do get dual channel ABS and dynamic stability control, which functions the ABS and the regenerative braking to give you a more stabilized ride all throughout. You even have the option of going in for some smart tech in the form of the Violet AI, which gives you access to ride analytics and tells you how to ride a lot more efficiently after collating your data. Now the tech also gives you crash alerts, an anti-collision warning system, and tells you via the app if your F77 is being towed away or if somebody is messing around with it in the parking lot. But for me, the best thing has to be the updated regenerative braking system. When I tested it out last monsoon in Mumbai, I found that the older bike, well, it was something that the bike was really in dire need of, because the system back then was quite inefficient, especially in the wet, where you'd want the regen system to function more or less on the lines of engine braking and bring the bike to a halt quicker and safer. It's there now and you can get it to kick in just the way you want it to on the go, and you can even switch it off completely and coast to your heart's content. The riding position and the entire dynamics of this motorcycle still retains that nice performance-y, punchy aspect that we really liked from the previous generation model. But now it just feels more wholesome because you have that level of customizability that the previous bike was missing. Yes, it's an electric bike that emphasizes on performance, so it's got to be fun and exciting, and that it very much is. But it still is a bit of a pain to ride at slow speeds because of the rather sporty rider triangle. There's always some weight on your palms. Also, I'm slightly disappointed that they haven't fixed the mirrors to be easier to adjust and fix in place. And this Recon, now it comes with a bigger 10.3 kWh battery as opposed to the smaller 7.1 kWh unit in the standard. So it weighs around 10 kgs heavier at 207 kilograms. So there's quite a bit of weight to tip into a corner or even push back. There simply had to be a reverse assist on there, and thankfully there still is. Even in light ride mode, which is the most economical mode on the bike, it's not very lively but not exactly boring either. And you can't say the same for every two-wheeler electric currently out there. Now Ultraviolette I've even upped the power by 1 kilowatt and managed to extend the range by around 20 clicks, which was always going to be a good thing. combat and ballistic modes as before are still thoroughly enjoyable, and thanks to the rework regen, well, things have now gotten a lot safer. Now, many of you might be wondering why Ultraviolette actually calling this one the Mark II when not a lot has changed in terms of design, the underpinnings, the battery, the chassis. It all remains the same as before. But what Ultraviolette have done with the F77 Mark II is taken an already impressive electric motorcycle, tweak things around so that it feels a lot closer to the functioning of a proper combustion engine motorcycle, while not compromising on the exciting and fun aspects associated with an electric bike. And that in no way is an easy task to achieve. You get brisk acceleration, you get good amount of safety and connected tech, a sporty riding stance, and an electric bike that you can actually lean into corners, although it is a bit heavy. Still, there's a lot of thought and ingenuity on display here, because there's a lot of tech that needs to be adjusted and perfected in order to work in tandem with each other and be deemed safe for the road, like the functioning of the regenerative braking system, the CBS and the ABS units. Also, a really cool thing about these upgrades is the fact that the older vehicle owners can even upgrade to the new software and hardware. The software updates can be had free of cost over OTA updates, while you'll have to shell out for the hardware updates, which in this case includes the aluminum charger flap and a couple of panels and hinges in relation to it. So if you're into fast rides and thinking of switching to electric, well, the updates make this F77 a more complete package than it ever was, and it's one that you definitely should consider.
Well, it's time to head into our final break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we embark on a beautiful road trip in the lap of the Himalayas in Volkswagen cars. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.